Hello again, Amstrad fans. We're on to the second part of the Star Wars trilogy for the Amstrad, and it's time for The Empire Strikes Back, which, if you speak to a lot of movie buffs and stuff, they'll class as the best Star Wars movie out of the bunch. I don't know, I wouldn't be able to choose between the three, really, unless said about the new 3 films that came out. Phantom Menace, oh dear. Anyway, it's already very similar to, obviously, the previous Star Wars game. It's vector graphics as usual, like the arcade original, and again it's very faithful to the coin-op. And nice title screens as well. No music so far, but don't worry, wait and see. Now personally, this one and obviously the Star Wars original, they're both vector graphics. Return of the Jedi isn't, so if I had to say out of the two, you know, Empire and Star Wars, I kind of prefer this game, purely because of the second section or level, and yeah, you'll see why in a short bit. So let's get this started. I'll just fit a high score table first. And as before, we're going to start on the hard wave. And there's a nice introduction there. And yay, first of all, we've got music in game this time. Hurrah! But we're still getting a fair amount of slowdown though. Boo! To be honest, it's no worse than the original Star Wars game where we had lots of sprites on the screen. But this time we have music. Do you know what? And it makes a huge amount of difference for me. Oh yeah, shoot enough enemies and you'll get a Jedi letter. Get all 4 Jedi letters and you'll apparently become a Jedi. No, well yeah, you get temporary invulnerability. Oh, I can't pronounce that right. Yeah, you can't die. This section's pretty easy. You don't get the probots shooting much at you. And what those little red things appearing at the top of them, going up to the top of the screen there, basically transmissions that you need to shoot. There's one. If they get 4 transmissions up there, then it's time to move on to the next section. And to be honest, you can keep this level going for ages by just shooting the transmissions as soon as they appear. So you can really rack up a lot of points here, but you know, eventually it starts getting a bit dull and you want to see the next bit. Nasty slow down again. Well, we let 4 get up there. I'm on to my favourite section of this game though. Which is shooting the AT walkers. And this is really well done actually. You get the small mini ones and the big beasts there. And basically got a small little red rectangle to shoot on the front of the head of the AT walkers. But you've also got tow cables, which you can shoot using your space bar, and that will wrap around the legs of the larger ones there and take them down. It takes a little bit more time to do so you don't want to run out of time. Shot enough there to get a Jedi letter. And that little red spindle thing moving across the sort of blue horizontal bar, that's your time. What we're going to do here, another little trick. Going to fly through the legs there to get bonus points, which is great fun. This section's great fun, but unfortunately it doesn't last long enough, you know. That's your time there runs out fairly quickly. Oh, just shot off tow cable there, and there he collapses. So this level's the most fun out of the game, and it's all over far too quickly, unfortunately. And you know, it's still pretty easy as well. So there we go, we're on to the third section, and we're shooting the TIE Fighters time, like on the original game. This is again pretty good fun, but it's all over far too quickly. Got our Jedi letter, and it's all rather a bit easy. Please see your presentations up a notch this time. Oh, you got the ship flying across there. Little touches like that's pretty good. And we're already on to the final section, which is avoiding the asteroids. Now this is probably arguably the hardest section, but even so, I kind of, you know, most times I progress through without getting hit once. Although compared to the original, you do start with less shields. We only got 5 shields to start with, whereas on the original we get 9. That's just to help ramp up the difficulty a bit. But you know, the game's far too easy. I think the first practice run I had this, I just kept completing wave after wave after wave, and it just got boring. So again, like Star Wars, after these sections, although there's 4 sections rather than 3 compared to the original, they just repeat over and over and just get slightly more difficult each time. But whereas on the original, the final trench section gets really quite tough actually, this just stays pretty easy and gets boring far too quickly, sadly. I would have just quite liked the AT Walker level sort of extended with all the bits and bobs to do. Just have much more time on that, to have practice doing trick flying and shooting your tow cables and blowing them up, because that's actually quite good fun. These probots can be quite annoying to hit though sometimes. You're kind of shooting them, but you have to. It seems like they only explode if you sort of hit the middle or sort of lower half of them. And as you can see, the difficulty really hasn't ramped up that much from the previous wave. And when they manage to sneak up one of those red transmission thingies, you know, they're not hard to sort of like target and stuff, but if you've got a lot of sprites on screen and slow down, it gets quite tough shooting them. And that's no fault of your own, it's the fault of the game and the programming. It's definitely a step up from the previous game. But you know, again, but then it starts losing marks of just being too easy. And again, probably having no sort of end goal apart from just repeating the same thing over and over and over. So as before in the last video, if there is like a final wave, you know, an end wave, and then you get like sort of a completion screen, you've done all the waves, then do let me know. As far as I'm aware, the waves just repeat again and again. So there's not a huge amount of replay value for this game, you know, or longevity. Apart from this spectacular level here. But you know, the vector graphics are still nice. The sound effects are as good, if not better, than the original. and the music's brilliant. Should mention more about the music because there's different different themes and stuff for each of the levels, which are just like the themes in the movie as well. So well done. But really, you're only going to sort of play this a couple of times and get bored of it, sadly. So, what did I give the last Star Wars game? I think I gave it 4.5 or a 5 out of 10. Purely for this section, I'm going to give it 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, 5.5 out of 10. Still kind of disappointing. But then saying that, when I got this when I was a young kid, after playing this on holiday and all that kind of stuff in the arcades, I was really chuffed by it. I loved how they got the music in game and got this section, and you know, I was a bit of a fan of Star Wars movies as a kid, not so much now. But I was more of a fan of the arcade originals, so I actually really loved this as a kid. But you know, I found myself after a couple of weeks, the box was sat on the shelf along with the Star Wars game, not getting much action. Maybe if you got the both games in like one compilation for a decent price, you wouldn't have complained too much. Yeah, kind of running out of things to say now. I'll just sit back and watch a bit more gameplay footage without me yabbering on. Ooh, nasty slowdown. Hang on, we lost a shield there. How did that happen? Is that a bug? Final level again, probably the toughest of the bunch as I mentioned before, but still pretty easy. Probably the first time you play this level, you probably lose a few shields, but you'll soon get the hang and trick of this. C3PO giving you little messages at the top of the screen there. Did you know that? Oh no, he stopped talking. Oh well. I think it's like the odds of survival or something. Anyway, so we've done it again. There's a TIE fighter. And Darth Vader. Well, I was going to make a bit of an edit and just jump to here to show you the game over screen and high score table. There's game over. And the high score table. Right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Return of the Jedi video. Cheers.